Hey there, YouTube. This is Story Dude coming at you once again with some excellent conversations going on the internet. I'm here to relate them to you and provide my own sultry commentary to these affairs. Let's dive right into it. Today we have quite a controversial topic. We're going to be talking about tax, baby. Oh yeah, let's get right into it, how eh? People who don't want to tax the 1% but are not the 1%. Why? Warning. There's a lot of Redditors who know jack esh about economics, offering economic opinions. Trade lightly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be interesting because I don't know much about tax. And my job is to provide commentary. And it feels like this is a problem nowadays, that everyone has an opinion. And pretty much the only people who have justifiable opinions are experts. But, I don't know. But here we are. Anyway, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. People don't understand the difference between net worth, liquidity, capital gains tax, and income tax. Until people do, the effort isn't going to do much for redistribution. How are we going to tax Jeff Bezos when all he does is own stocks? The vast majority of ultra-rich people don't gain their wealth as a salary. I mean, a lot to unpack there. Do I know the difference between net worth, liquidity, capital gains tax, and income tax? Not really. But is it necessary to have this conversation? I'm not sure because, in the end, we just want to make sure that rich people pay their fair share. And I believe that this idea can be communicated to our politicians and policymakers, and they should figure out the nitty gritty. It's not up to us to know these, more technical differences, right? I mean, I don't know. It's my opinion, and my opinions are worthless, right? So, but interesting comment, right up there at the top. The income tax started out as a tax on the wealthy. The lowest tax bracket when it was passed was 1% on income over $3,000 per year. That's around $78,000 in today's money. Now, the lowest tax bracket is 10% on income over around $12,000 per year. I expect a wealth tax would start out only taxing the super rich, but within a few decades would be taxing everyone. So you're saying that because the original income tax ended up becoming a universal tax, if we have a wealth tax, it'll eventually become a poor tax. That is a slippery slope argument, which one of my professors once said was the last resort of the charlatan. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think. Why am I having to do this video, man? this is this is something else here. As an economist in real life, this thread makes me want to effing wait. What did he say? Effing something. All right. Because the government is really bad at spending our money. If you want to fix entrenched wealth, you need to reform how unproductive assets are taxed, not wages, productivity. That should include asset-rich, cash-poor, loss-making businesses that are proven to have complex or offshore minimization strategies. Taxing the productivity or wages of the 1% will therefore not alleviate the societal problems you're seeking to fix. The biggest issues for people in the bottom 50% are housing affordability, life affordability, disproportionate taxes like council rates, VAT, GST, state taxes, toll roads, fuel excise, etc. are the factors that influence our lives the most. That's what needs remedies. So it seems to me you're saying cut the taxes on the poor, but leave the relative lacks of taxes on the rich. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert. it all sounds great, right? Great. What is a GST tax? I don't know. I mean, lesson learned here is I need to have my little pamphlet, my little cheat sheet to do this. Tax is not a means of social balancing or income redistribution. It's a means of paying the bills and keeping the lights on. If you have to tax the 1% to do that, fine, but that's not the context I hear it in. The government also doesn't need more money. It needs reforms and cuts. It expands the size of the budget it's giving and swallows up money meant to do something real with inefficiency and bureaucracy. True, I mean, I guess the government is quite inefficient at distributing wealth, but what's the alternative? Are rich people just gonna, provide school buses and sewage and whatever the government does? I mean, that sounds crazy to me too. Screw the 1%. Let's talk about the 0.1%. Now, that's a point I like because I believe a lot of people in the 1% are actually not that rich. And now, don't get me wrong. I mean, they're like well off, but I think what people fail to understand is that it's really like a minuscule portion of Americans own most of the wealth. And so I guess what this person is saying, we need to focus on them. Like, I don't know, I read somewhere on Reddit or whatever that we should have like a billionaire cutoff. You know, like if you reach $1 billion in net worth, congratulations, you've won capitalism, and you know you at that point you pay 100% tax on anything you make after that. That sounds good to me, but then again, what do I really know, huh? 1% of households make 500K. Oh, this is what this person is saying. Yeah, it's not that. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, 500K a year is a lot of money, but it's true. It's not exactly Jeff Bezos. I don't have a problem with higher tax, but I think we talk about taxing the rich as though they are all otherworldly levels of wealth. The people who avoid tax are not the 1% of income. The ones using loopholes are mainly living off vast amounts of wealth there, and they can avoid normal taxation. Yeah, there's offshore accounts. I think it's an interesting point because take what are they, like countries like France, when they raised the tax on the wealthy people just left. They established residences in other countries where, guess what, they ended up paying no tax anymore to France. So that is a potential issue that I see, is if you raise the tax on the ultra wealthy, guess who has the means to live wherever the F they want? Yeah, it's them. So they might just get up. And a lot of them already, you know, have most of their assets parked offshore, the Cayman Islands or whatnot. So it is an issue. It is an issue indeed. It's not my money. It's theirs. Yeah. Yeah, but then who's going to pay for, you know, your kids to go to, you know, elementary school or something, you know? Someone's got to do it. I guess we all do it collectively. And if the government stopped wasting money, then if we taxed everyone the same amount, maybe things would work out. But it's not exactly working out, is it? The government already takes in a ton of money through taxes and mismanages most of it, so why give them any more, period? Especially when the wealth tax will eventually be applied to middle-class Americans as well, and further incentivize the rich to exploit the system. Seems to me the practical thing would be to force the government to be more efficient with the money they already have access to. So again, a slippery slope argument, but I guess what you can't deny is that the government is inefficient. But then again, I'm assuming that. How inefficient is the government? That is the question I encourage all of you to look up, because I really don't know. Is the government that inefficient with allocating resources? It seems to me we've got a lot of great stuff to be grateful for in America. I mean, yeah, the roads are kind of dilapidated, and, you know, what are the infrastructures? People say the bridges are about to collapse, whatnot. But hey, I can tell you, as someone who's lived abroad, it's really nice to come back to America where things work and you can call up a government agency and you actually get your stuff. Yeah, people complain about the DUI, but the DUI ain't shit. I can tell you that. For me, we lost the family farm to property taxes. Some of my grandmother's family were said to haunt that place. So, not a big fan of taxing wealth. Feels like Uncle Sam saying, you've had your stuff for too long now, time for someone else to have your home. Now, that's interesting. I think I've heard this argument of, yeah, if you tax the rich, you'll actually end up, you know, punishing, you know, farmers who are people who are, you know, cash poor but land rich. They end up losing the farm. I guess assume it's true sometimes because that's what this person is reporting. It's interesting. And something about a ghost? That's weird. All right. Whatever you do will only F up the middle class. The truly rich have smart people who know how to find loopholes. They are much smarter than people who write the tax laws. Yeah, I guess. But also, I think they can make the tax code a lot more simple. I think that's why there's so many loopholes. What if the tax code was like 3 pages long, man? What if it just said, you know, make this much, pay this much. They have like 3 brackets, and that is it. Obviously, that wouldn't work because they would have done it. And that's why I am not in a position of any authority or power in my life, because my ideas are dumb. I don't know if anyone who doesn't want to tax the 1% at all. Typically, the question is whether or not the 1% pays a higher share of taxes than they do now. I don't know. I'm not smart enough. People who ask directed, condescending questions on Ask Reddit to seek out answers they want to hear because the actual answers to the question will get downvotes. Why? That is so meta. I love it. Wow. Made my day. It's not about the 1%. The government is just incredibly ineffectual as it is. They are shite without our money now. So why would I approve of giving them even more money no matter where it comes from? Because, all other concerns aside, the government should not need that money. If I had my way, I'd slash the federal budget by 90% and tell them to pick the important shit. Everything else, shut down and delegate to the states. I feel that the people who make these sort of arguments are also people who would hate to see, the military budget get slashed and stuff like that. Then again, I heard somewhere that the military budget, which is always a thing like lefties like me are always complaining about, I spend money on aircraft carriers, that apparently it doesn't make up that big of a proportion of what the federal government spends every year. But, me being biased and lazy, I didn't check that. I just cling to my opinions. Rawr! Down delegate to the states. That just sounds so old school. What if the states are dumb? Didn't Louisiana go out of business or something? My simple answer, a tax on the ultra wealthy never stays on the ultra wealthy. If we're going to be taxing people much more, I want to see the money be used, not for military or something like that, but for something to help out everyone else. And what's interesting is, historically, ultra rich people were taxed a lot more, I believe. And also, they seem to contribute more to society. Like, when was the last time, the Carnegie came around and started building concert halls and libraries and universities and stuff? It seems like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are trying to get the hell off this planet instead of trying to make it better for other people here. And I'm sure there's a million examples to counter that. I guess Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, George Soros are making a lot of donations, but it's not like tangible stuff that I ever see. It's like, it's cool, like these so-called robber barons, they seem to have built stuff, enduring, beautiful buildings.